Hi, everybody. This is GM John Fedorowicz for ICC's continuing SimulMaster series. Welcome to my February 2017 Simul, and we'll get started shortly. It looks like it's a good week for chess with the Grand Prix going on in Sharjah and the Women's World Championship being battled out in Tehran, Iran for some reason. Um, I'm not really sure that they should have tournaments there anymore if you see all the trouble that's been going on there concerning what the women should wear and whatnot. So, but that's FIDE for you. So I hope everybody enjoys the simul. And I'm sitting here in New York where the weather is really pretty good. It's like a summer like. And I played chess this last weekend in Parsippany, New Jersey. That's where they have the amateur team championships on President's Weekend here in the United States, and that's Parsippany, New Jersey. I've been there. I played all right. I had 3 wins and 3 draws, and my team had a good chance for first or second, depending on what happened, and going into the last round. But we lost a tough match to Carissa Yip's team. And I drew with Carissa Yip. She's a good player, played in a lot of World Youths. I think she's about 13 years old now. She's playing in the U.S. Women's Championship in early April. And also I drew with Megesh Panchawanathan, a strong Indian GM that now lives in one of my old hometowns, Piscataway, New Jersey, and also drew a game where maybe I was getting murdered and then maybe I was winning against another young player, David Brodsky. And then I was happy to leave Parsippany to come home, and I come home, and now I have conjunctivitis in both eyes, and I have viral pneumonia. So, but I'm still here doing the simuls, and it will be a lot of fun. So whenever the boards pop up, I'm ready to go. And Moving Dutchman says it's always nice to get comments while playing your opponent. And Moving Dutchman, sometimes I have to be a little careful because I get carried away and sometimes suggest good moves for the opponents, and I don't think that's what the way chess is supposed to be. So I have to be a little bit careful. Sometimes I have to catch myself with that situation. And but good luck to everybody. And here come the boards. Let's get started. We're starting a little late, but that's okay. It's 2:07 ICC East Coast time. So good luck to everybody. And have a good time. I hope you enjoy the simul. And sometimes I take black in the simuls, but today looks like I'm going for the whites. Welcome to the simul. Cap 78 red. A lot of newcomers today, from what I could tell. Creative Rook, Dealmaker. I think I'm going to go DVS. We played a number of times before. I think sometimes I tell people they ask me, I play both D4 and E4 move 1, and they ask me when I try to figure out the difference. Well, when I could prepare for people, usually what happens is I try to figure out which person plays something like subpar against E4, D4, and then I go accordingly after that. But so the way I would do it is, for instance, my friend GM Nick DeFermian, if I were to play white against him, he would be playing a Najdorf if I played E4, and I consider the Najdorf as a very good opening. And Little Fish says, good luck, my friend. Good luck to you, Little Fish. And that's a good name. And then if I was, for instance, Nick DeFermian, if I play D4 against him or C4, he plays suspicious stuff against that, like the Benoni or something. I'd rather play against the Benoni than the Najdorf. Also, sometimes if I'm not feeling well, I'll play D4 because the games are less likely to get out of control with the D4. E4, sometimes the games can get pretty involved very quickly. So that's how I figure out whether to go E4, D4. So being a little under the weather today, I think I'll play D4 in all the games, and we'll see how that goes. Zebile, we've had a lot of games, and Cronus. Let's see, Cronus is in the simul, and let's see. So, and back to Zebile, who we played a lot of times, and we're always getting involved in a Grunfeld. And difficult is let's see, and some newcomers. And now it's back to Zebla again. Hopefully it'll let me move. And I think Zebla, we have discussed the Grunfelds quite often. Looks like GM, I play D4, but if they go D6 on move 1, sometimes I switch to an E4 opening. And that's what I'm doing there. Moving Dutchman, D4, Knight F6, C4. Same with Plato Lag. And Raster, we're going to get into some kind of Queen's Gambit. Creative Rook, Grunfeld, same for Trivial Pursuit. Trivial Pursuit we've played before, and I think we've had discussed a number of different variations. I think we've probably had a same-ish. What's going on today? Funky Chess. Same thing. D4, D6, and I'm going to play E4. Moving Dutchman, I play Queen's Indians. I don't usually allow Nimzo Indians. There was one U.S. championship where I played white side Nimzo Indian. I think I did a Bishop D3 and a Knight E2 or something like that. One game when I was a kid really scared me, and you could look this game up. American GM Jim Torjan was white against Roman Gingiashvili, and that was in Hastings, 1977/1978, and that game was a Hubner blockade variation, and you could look that up, and that game just scared me so much that I was always afraid of the double pawns, and Gingy then was, I think, an Israeli GM, and then he shortly became an American GM after that. Okay, now DVS has to be careful with this move order here. He went deep. I went D4. He went Knight F6. I went C4. He went D5. And the danger with him here is that he's going to lose control of the center. He didn't put a pawn in the center, and sometimes you could get into a decent Grunfeld there, and it would be okay. All right, Deal Maker has gone for a Bogo Indian. GM has gone. I've played against this a Philidor where he's going Queen E7, and I will reply with Knight to C3, and then he'll play C6 to stop that, and then we'll get that rolling. So let's see what happens with Cap Red. Raster, I always play this pet line Queen C2 thing. I think against Raster today, I'm going to go with Knight C3. My pet line against the Slava Queen C2 is really not that good. I mean, it gets a position, but it's not good. I mean, it's not playing for an advantage really. If white knows if black knows what they're doing. Okay, let's see what GM did. He did C6, and now sometimes I have to beware of B5 being some sort of move, and also Castle and Queenside could come into play. I've always gone A4 in this position. I'm not even sure why. I could probably go Bishop C4 could be a reasonable move there, and just try to come out very fast and see how that works. I have to be careful with his Queen on E7 of pins, so I'm just going to go A4 there and then just play some normal position. And back to Little Fish, so we're back to the top of the order. Cap Red, I've been playing the same-ish a lot lately, so I'm going to do a same-ish. DVS is taken back with the Queen on D5. I always play Knight C3. Cronus will get some kind of Dutch. Dogmeat's gone Bishop E7. I'll reply G3. I usually try to know what the best lines are. Raster has gone E6, and I'm going to go Bishop G5. And Heyen is, I think we've played some Dutch defenses before, and I'm going to go pawn takes pawn. And moving Dutchman, we're going to get a Queen's Indian. I had an A3 Queen's Indian against Megish Panchawanat on the past weekend, and I have to admit I was sort of afraid he was going to murder me, but I defended all right, and maybe even wound up with an advantage and did okay and made a draw. And so it's good to know that anyway, when I go to tournaments, I could still play. Okay, let's see what Casperanio. And it looks like his picture looks very nice. It looks like it might be with his wife and kid. Looks a very nice picture, Casperanio. And I always go for the exchange variation and difficult and Zebal. Okay, now again, Zebal, I'm wondering if it would be nice to try maybe another variation than what we usually do in the in these Grunfelds. I'm going to try a different one today. J. Russell, another King's Indian. Perhaps I'll do a Petrov. Now, Bishop Mate. Bishop mate, I always thought that in the position where I go knight c3 against bishop mate, that black's best moves there were pawn takes pawn, and then white usually plays a4. Although if you look up my games, I had a lot of games with e4, b5 in that. I think it's called the Slav Gambit. I'm not sure. I think that's what it's called. And when I was living in Germany, I won some nice games. But then all of a sudden, I played a guy, and he had 2 months to prepare for me when I was playing in the Bundesliga with Larry Christensen. And the guy really did a good job of preparing for me. And you go look this game up, and the guy was just really doing a number on me. And I decided since I was lost, I would have to turn into some kind of coffee house guy. And I started moving fast, and I got the guy into time pressure and managed to make a draw and never played it again. So in this position here, after when Bishop mate played Bishop f5, I always thought that black's only moves there were e6, g6, and a6, and I thought e6 was the best move. And I love playing that Bishop g5 thing. I was Gata Kamsky's coach, and for a few years, and we worked on that position. And as a matter of fact, he did very well against Kramnik, and I won a few games with it too because of our work in the Botvinnik variation. I remember the day I went to Kamsky's house, and he says to me, "We're going to study the Botvinnik variation." And never been really good at the names of the openings, so he goes, "We're going to study the Botvinnik variation," and I remember saying, "What's that?" And he just looked at me, and I didn't really know what it was. So, okay, now let's see what Raster's up to here. Possibilities for a Cambridge Springs, which leads to another ridiculous story. There was actually a U.S. championship in Cambridge Springs in 1988, and that was a very weird place to hold a tournament. And but we had a good time there. I remember the pitcher of beer was the pitcher of beer cost $1.50. And that was that was definitely one of the highlights there. But it was a cool place in Pennsylvania, and that was 1988. That was one of the weirdest U.S. championships. Okay, Little Fish has gone now going for a Neo Grunfeld kind of thing, and now I got to figure out: should I leave that pawn on c4, or should I just take it? But sometimes when you take on c4, you give your opponent better places for their pieces. Okay, now hold on here. What's going on? Funky chess. The boards just confused me here. All right, funky chess. Perk, and I always go for the classical perk. I worked with Walter Brown, and we studied several openings together. We worked a lot together. And now let's see. Dealmaker has gone e5, and now I think I go knight to c3. Michael Wilder used to play this tricky opening. Plato Lag, we're in the Petrosian a3, Queen's Indian. Little Fish, I think I'm going to leave that pawn on c4 there, one more move, and see if I can get my bishop out. Hayen has gone c6, and I will reply with e3. He played a weird move order and to get to a Stonewall Dutch, and I think in those move orders he's got to be a little careful. I'm not convinced about his move order. Bishop f8 from Dogmeat, and I played h3. That's a Philidor where he took on d4, and I take with the knight, and then they do this rook e8 and bishop f8. And recommended for white was to overprotect e4 with g3 and bishop g2. And then they say that that's probably a better position for white. Casperanio, and I played at e3. Jay Russell, we're still in the early goings of a Samish. Cap Red is playing the Burn system, and I'm going to go bishop h6. Zebile has gone d5, and I'll go pawn takes pawn. That's going to be a g3. That's going to be a g3 Grunfeld. Okay, Bishop Mate is offered a trade of queens on b6, and now I got to see, do I trade the queens here, or do I can snatch a pawn on d5, but I'm not so sure about that really, because then what happens? can that turn into some kind of decent sacrifice for him? Maybe I could take and do some bishop f4 thing and just come out fast. I think I'm going to try that. All right, I'm going to take him and then see if I could do that. Okay, moving Dutchman, knight c3, Hayen developing, and that's the Stonewall Dutch. Kasparanio, exchange variation of the Queen's Gambit. Cap red took on h6. I recaptured bishop d7 from Dogmeat. And now with Dogmeat, I have to look at something quickly. I don't think it works. I have to look at always e5 and bishop takes b7, but it doesn't work because his pawn is eating its way all the way through to c3. So I will just go rook e1 and take my little bit of space and be happy with that. Moving Dutchman played d5, and I'll go bishop g5. Another pet line, as it's called. And now Dealmaker has gone castle. So Dealmaker's variation is what he's playing is a pretty decent variation, actually. And I don't really remember. I haven't played it against it in a long time. I think I'm going to go queen c2. Looks sort of like a sensible looking move. And let's see. Little Fish says the last GM he played, he didn't even get to castle. So this is already better, right? So it's important to castle. I teach a lot of little kids in the New York area, and in the school where I work, and they have chess in the curriculum. And I tell them, look, in the openings we're playing, right? They should be castled by move 7 or 8, no matter what happens. So that's the deal, and I think that's what they should do also. Okay, Funky Chess has gone a6. That's in the classical perk. And I always reply a4. Okay, sorry. And it looks like a4 I play. It's sort of a lazy move, but it's a decent move. And so that's better. Okay, now Raster I expected Cambridge Springs, and I'm going to go for Kasparov's pawn takes pawn. Let's try that out. Kasparov developed his pawn sacrifice. I think it was in his match with Smyslov, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see what happens here now. Little Fish. I'm always keeping an eye on when will knight h5 be a good move for him. I think rook to c1 looks decent for me. And Kappa Red has gone queen a5, and I was just analyzing this the other day, and queen d2 is a decent reply, and I think I can get some slight advantage for white in that. Okay, g6. Now, GM. It's in this weird perk type of position. I think I'm going to go queen d2. I think I need to stop his bishop h6 positional idea. And difficult was still in, so I haven't gotten any lost positions yet. Hayon is castled. I will castle too. That's in that Stonewall. Trivial Pursuit, another same-ish. E6, E3 from Bishop Mate. Pawn takes pawn against moving Dutchman. E3 against difficult. C5 pawn sack from J. Russell. I've always replied D5 there. Knight takes D5, Queen D2 from Raster. And Cap Red has played castles. Now, the only thing with Cap Red is in this position, is it ever tempting to just try to mate him? But if I go H4, and he goes and he plays, let's say I go H4 and he plays H5, how easy is it for me to pry him open? And also, what's going on with his counterplay here? And another thing is, it's not so easy for me to castle on the queen side in these games. I'm thinking of trying to play this a little bit positionally here, and just maybe go bishop to D3, and then but I have to be careful about transposing into a position where it's a good bishop versus a bad bishop if he ever goes E5. I was almost tempted to go E5 myself, but then I don't know what if he takes and moves his knight or something like that. I'm afraid to get behind a little bit in development. It could be possible. A3 could be a decent move for me. just to go b5. So I'm not really sure what to do here. It's g4 is another tempting thing to do. So I think in this position, I'm just going to go pawn to a3 and see, if I could be positional about this. Okay, knight c6 from dog meat. And now, what's a nice developing move for me? Maybe just bishop to e3. Sometimes in these positions, it's possible he could take and go b5, but he has to be a little careful with that diagonal. I think I'm going to try to develop with b3 here and put my bishop on b2. Okay, GM is persistent. He wants to go bishop h6. Probably that's the right idea for him. And now I have to see what do I want to do here. How do I let him exchange those bishops and at least make it a little bit awkward for him? I think I'm going to try pawn to d5 and see if I can work on his backward pawn there. Okay, Hayen has gone knight e4, and I go f3. I'm going to go bishop b5 check against bishop mate, come out fast. Knight takes pawn against deal maker. Bishop h4 against difficult. And Trivial Pursuit is the other same, bishop e3. Now, what has DV played here? He's gone e5, and why can I not go knight takes e5? Looks like knight takes e5, and I'm very happy with my position here. So in the early going, I had a lot of interesting types of positions. Okay, Jay Russell has gone e6. I'm going to go bishop e2. Castles against Zevile. G6 from dog meat. He's going to oppose the bishops. Okay, bishop to b2. I have to be careful when he goes there so I don't get into trouble on the diagonal. And bishop mate went king e7, and I'm going to castle on the queen side, king side, excuse me. Castling on the queen side would not be healthy. Move in Dutchman, white's correct development is to fianchetto. And Cap Red has gone e5, and I think I'm going to try pawn to b4 and drive his queen back. We got to see how this works out here. Okay, queen c7 from Hayen. I'm going to go queen to d2 and just develop. Bishop g2. I think Hayen should look this position up in a database because I think I might have a game in this. Knight c6 from Zebile. Is there any way for me to take advantage of this? I think I'm just going to go knight to c3 and get into the normal kind of thing. Dogmeat is now threatening knight takes, knight, queen takes, and knight takes e4 discovery. And sometimes in these things there's queen sacks, but I think that I should probably go knight takes c6 and then queen d3 and see if I can keep some space there. Okay, difficult has gone b6 and played a Tartakover, and I've played a Tartakover a lot also. And I'm interested in one line in this opening. I'm going to try bishop takes. First, I think I'm going to go bishop to e2, and then I'm just interested in some line. Now, Plato Lag has gone bishop e7 in the Petrosian variation, and sometimes that allows me to go d5. I think bishop e7 is a little bit inaccurate there. Okay, now Cap Red has gone queen c7, and I think I'm going to take on e5 first and then lock the center. DVS has gone bishop to d6. And let me see, I'm thinking of just going knight back and protecting myself I'm going to go try knight to c4 and just protect all my stuff. Plato Lag, we exchanged on d5. Queen a5 from Jay Russell. And that's a kind of a typical move there. And I'm going to go bishop to d2 and see if I can bother him with some discoveries. All right, Ears. Ears is with a friend of mine, and Ears, I've always picked on him here for playing subpar openings as Duncan Suttles, Lawrence Day, Canadian stuff. No offense to the Canadians, but at some point, those openings just became, I don't know what the word is. Terrible maybe is a good word, but anyway, that's the story with that. So, all right, now let's see what to do with Dogmeat here. Can I have to always look to see if knight d5 is any sort of move here. Knight d5, if he exchanges knights, try and get some slight space advantage going. You never know though if he has some kind of in between move in these things. So, and he might be threatening knight takes e4 because my bishop on b2 is unprotected. So, I think I'm gonna see can I go queen to d3 there, and then what might he do after that? So I don't know. I think I'm just gonna play the unlikely looking rook to b1 and just get on with it there. Okay, ears. Looks like ears. We're getting into a Tartakover, which I do think a Tartakover is a pretty decent thing to play. And now let's see against Jay Russell. How do I develop? I have discoveries on his queen, and interesting discoveries on his queen. So I have to be alert here. I don't know. I'm looking at knight b5 here against Jay Russell. What does he do on that move? Discovery on his queen. I'm going to try knight to b5 and see what's the deal with that. Okay, pawn to a4 from Dealmaker, and so his idea there will be something to do with knight to e5, possibly bothering my pawns. I wonder if I could play something like knight to d5 and work on that, or he's gonna maybe try to cement a knight into c5. So I'm thinking of maybe going b3 here. I can't snatch a4. He takes on d2. I lose a piece. Certainly knight d5 deserves some kind of look, I guess. And then I don't know if he exchanges on d2 or retreats. So b3, interesting also. So what's a decent move for me here? I'm gonna try knight to d5 against Dealmaker and see how that one goes. Okay, Cap Red. I'm thinking of locking with c5. And what is creative rook doing here? d4, a6, e4, rook a7. I don't know. All right, so I'm just going to develop here. First, I'm going to protect my center with c3, and then I'm going to come out with my pieces. Let's see. D takes e5 from Cap Red, and now I should develop my pieces here. And let's see. Something's going on with the Cap Red board. There's a floating pawn, and I don't know what it's doing. So I will leave that and see if I could come back and see what's going on there. Okay, so I went to bishop mate. Bishop mate has gone knight e4, and I'm gonna see. Let's see. He's threatening my c3 pawn. I'm gonna go rook to c1. Rook on f to c1. See if I could go c4. Creative rook, fianchettoing. But what was rook a7 about? This is a good question. And Cap Red's board is still very weird here. Okay, so I'm going to get out of the way. Let me see. Where should I go? How should I develop here? I'm going to try rook to c1 on him and leave my king in the middle. I'm a little concerned about that. Queen takes d2 from Dealmaker, and bishop c7 from DVS. And now I'm just going to develop with bishop to e2 and try and keep all of my stuff. But I have to look out for b5, b4 ideas, getting some of his stuff back. I think I'm going to go e5 and push through, and then just see if I can keep the pawn like that. All right, knight d7 from Funky Chess. I'm going to go bishop c4. Cap Red has gone rook to d8, and I don't know. I'm wondering if I could get away with the queen to g5. I'm going to try queen to g5 and just get my queen out there with a tempo. Pawn takes c4, bishop takes c4 from Little Fish, and knight d7 from Heyen. And now I'm looking to see if I could get e4 in here and see if I could go open up the position while he's undeveloped. So I'm going to try pawn to e4 against Heyen. Kasparanov has gone b6. And I don't know, I mean, I had this position once, and I think that always in these Tartakovers, it's nice to go h6, bishop h4, and have those moves in, because can I win a pawn here with bishop takes f6? Is a good question. And then my next move will be something like Well, my next move for sure won't be something like queen h5, hitting h7 and d5. So ears, you got to be careful. Take a look at that one and make sure. But ears is not. But ears has gone knight bd7, so that's different. So ears' position is a little different there. But it's always good to put h6 in. If you don't think your opponent wants to take on, if the opponent does not want to take on bishop takes knight, you should always put a6 in for the free air situation. So you have luft. It's a rook ending. Now hold on here. Cap red has gone queen d7, threatening mate, and I do not want to get mate in one. I was analyzing one of my students yesterday, and he actually did mate me in one, and he had a lot of fun with that. So I'm looking to see here if maybe I can just go bishop to e2. And then I don't think he has any way to bother my queen. I'm looking on the file, so I think I will go bishop to e2. And then maybe see if I could go rook d1 after that, and maybe try to develop. Okay, queen h5 against Casperanio. E4 against Hayen, and the boards are acting a little strangely today. Knight takes f4 against Hayen. Queen h5 against there, and Little Fish has gone knight h5. He's after my bishop, and I'm going to let him chase it around a little bit. I'll go bishop to g5. d6 from Creative Rook. Now Creative Rook is doing okay. Creative Rook should have maybe tried to play that position without doing the what he did there. Okay, bishop mate has gone. Rook a3. Now I'm checking to see here what sort of thing can I do. Interesting play on his part because he's bothering my my pawn. And how do I deal with this move? Let's see. I'm wondering about he can maybe snatch this pawn on c3 on the next move. And is there some way for me to bother him here? He's seems like pretty decent play. So let's see. I'm looking at some stuff here, and the board switches. I don't know. It's today. I hope the boards aren't getting messed up because it's getting a little weird over here. I mean, and I've I have to be careful when it does that. I've lost games because of mouse slips. Who hasn't? And hopefully, and there was one simul where several people's boards I never went to and I lost on time, so that was not a good thing. So got to be careful with that too. So let's see what's going on here with Hayon. Hayon's thinking, and I'm going to see here. Oops, what did I just do? I just hit something and I tiled vertically, and that was not a good thing to do. So I have all the boards up, and okay, now I'm back to Little Fish. Okay, Little Fish has gone bishop f6, and I think I'm happy to take that bishop on f6. H6 from Raster, and I have to retreat bishop h4. And now back to bishop mate. I'm trying to figure out what to do with my c-pawn. And I guess I'm going to go c4. And then when he goes knight c3, I have to see what and then he's threatening knight e2 check kind of stuff. So I might have to sacrifice his pawn somehow, and I have to be careful how I do it. I don't know. I think I'm going to get my bishop out, so he might have won a pawn there, and his position looks pretty good. Castles from Raster, and now I'm going to go bishop to d3, and I haven't played this Kasparov stuff in a long time. Jay Russell was forced to sack his queen for a couple of pieces. Difficult. We're in a Tartakova. I'm going to try a line that was bothering me. And we'll see. Okay, now Cap Red has gone queen to d4. And now I'm wondering if I could go queen takes f6. What's going on with queen takes f6? Interesting business here. So, and all right, I'm going to try. And then when he goes queen d2 check, it's not mate. I can go king to f2. So I'm gonna try that. Queen takes f6. Let's see how that goes. a6 from Trivial Pursuit. Now, the opening we're in here, and he's moving very fast, so I got to be careful. I've already used like 40 minutes. So sometimes in these simuls, I have to move, I got to be careful and not get too slow. And, of course, talking too much, but that's part of it. Okay, bishop mate has gone knight takes c3. And now what should I do about this situation here? I'm going to try knight e5 and see if there's anything going on there. I'm going to pawn takes pawn against difficult. So I won a couple of pieces for the queen. Queen d2 check from cap red. I'm going to go king f2. Zepile's gone bishop to e6. And I'm going to play rook to... Now, I got to be careful of him sticking knights all over my face in this kind of variation. I'm going to go rook to e1. And cap has gone f6. And now... I was looking at something, but I don't think it works. I was looking at some kind of weird knight move here. And I don't think it works. So maybe he's made me go backwards here. And which I'm not really doing such a wonderful job in this opening. Knight d7 from moving Dutchman, I castle. Rook f6 from cap red. And now I have to see how do I want to do this. Rook to d1, he goes queen takes d1. Queen takes e5, I'm thinking about. Queen e7, and then when he goes queen takes c1, I go queen takes d6. That might be a possible thing to do. So now I'm looking at queen. I'm analyzing queen takes e5, queen takes c1, queen takes on d6. And I feel like this position should be pretty good for me. I just have to play decent looking move here. I'm thinking I like queen e7, although on queen e7, rook e6. And what's going on here? So queen takes e5 looks like something I should probably think about. Rook to d1, queen takes d1. And that looks pretty decent for him. So what's going on here? What should I play? Another thing I'm looking at is queen e7, and then when his rook moves and the board just switch to Chronos. And what is going on here with the boards? It's not good today. So I have to, I'm going to keep an eye out for stuff. Zebal's gone queen c8, and now I have to see when Zebile goes queen c8, if d5 it becomes a good move for me. I don't know. I'm going to try d5. It's just see what he's up to. Maybe he goes rook d8 and I go e4 or something. I have to see how that turns out. Okay, let's see what's going on here with Trivial Pursuit. Zebile did do that, and I played e4, and now Cap Red has gone rook to d6. And I guess I'm going to go queen takes e5. What other replies do I have? Queen e7 doesn't look terrible either. Let's see. Queen takes e5, and then so what does he do there? Knight d7, queen e7, rook e6. I'm gonna try queen e7. Okay, castles against Chronos, trying to make up some time. Moving Dutchman has gone g6, and I guess now in that position I'm looking at queen to b3. Rook c1 is maybe a move. I'm trying to put pressure on the diagonal. Queen b3, the only problem with queen b3 is I really don't want to put my pawn in front, so I'm going to go b4 first, try to go queen b3 after. Bishop g4 from Zebile. And now I'm going to move my queen somewhere, and I got to see what's the deal with that. Is he going to try to go knight e5 or knight d4 or something like that? So it's a little tricky, and I'm going to see maybe I can I move my queen somewhere, queen to b3. He goes bishop takes. Queen sack in this position is not is not good. If I go h6, h3, he can snatch that. So I'm thinking, I'm wondering what to do here. I don't want to get him a cemented knight. What about knight to? I'm thinking of going knight to e2, but then he might have some e6 thing. So it's a tricky move with Zebal here. Let's see what queen c2. I don't know. I mean, he gets us if he gets a cemented knight in d4, that could be a little annoying, but sometimes I could play around it. So bishop e3, knight e5. It might not be so easy for me to get rid of that knight. Bishop to g5, hitting the e7 pawn. I wonder what that is. And then he could go knight e5. I mean, the danger here is I get tied up on a diagonal. I always have to be careful with knight c4 kind of stuff. Very strange looking move I'm thinking about, but I don't believe it. Queen to d2 is a weird looking move. Queen d2 is a weird looking move. I'm going to try queen d2. It's a strange looking move. I'm not even sure what it does. Okay, let's see what Kronos did. Knight b d7. I'm going to go knight c3. b4 from moving Dutchman. I'm going to go queen to b3. Let's see. Dealmaker has gone c6, and I think now do I want? Yeah, I'm going to take on f6, try and work on his backward pawn, and now rook e6 from Cap Red, and I'm going to go queen to c7. I think. Now let me see if I have any rook d1 ideas here. Rook d1, he goes queen takes d1, and that doesn't work out well. So I'm going to go queen to c7 and try to take somebody with check. What's Kronos doing here? Knight f8, it's a strange-looking move. And do I just want to go rook e1 and e4, and that's straightforward chess? Queen e6 from moving Dutchman. And now I'm thinking I'm just maybe trying some move, knight to d2, to bother his pawn. I'm going to try knight to d2 to bother his d-pawn. Queen takes c1 from Cap Red. And I guess I go queen takes c8 check. And knight c5 from Dogmeat. Now, does Dogmeat have a threat here? I don't think so. So I'm going to go bishop a1 and play extra safe. Bishop here's one h6. I go bishop h4. And knight c6 from bishop mate, and bishop mate is just developing here, and now I have to see what can I do to him. He's done a good job here. I'm going to go knight to here. I think that he's played very well here, and I'm going to have this is probably the game where I have the most difficult position. Maybe he's just going to try to take a2 soon. And let's see what the story with this one is. I'm going to go knight to d2. I think he's just got a better position there. Okay, b6 against Dogmeat, and I'm just going to play normal with rook to d1, and h6 from Kronos, and I'm thinking hitting Kronos with e4 while his king's in the middle. Looks logical. Dealmaker has gone queen takes f6, and I think I'm looking here to see what I could do here. I'm thinking of putting pressure on his d-pawn with just rook to d1, and bishop mate is doing a very good job here. And now he's trying to snatch the a2 pawn. I think that so position's not so good for me here. I'm just going to play h3, and I'm about to be down 2 pawns. But the good news is that they're doubled pawns. And I have to be careful of where I put my rooks and stuff here, because I could get forked sometimes. So what to do here against bishop mate? I'm going to try f3 and just play. And now Hayen has just moved queen to d6, and I'm thinking here of, let's see, what should I do? I can go e5, mega pass pawn. I could go pawn takes pawn and snatch a pawn maybe on d5, and Hayen says, sorry, my server sucks. And I haven't seen any problem with Hayen's board, to tell you the truth. I'm just going to go pawn takes pawn against Hayen and see if I can snatch a pawn there. Bishop mate has gone rook h e8, which is the a8, which is what we expected. And now I don't know. I really don't. I've been moving my pieces around pretty aimlessly in this game, I have to say. So, I mean, h3, my position is terrible there. Ears has played very solidly today. He's playing the Alaska variation, which is a solid variation. Okay, let's see. Jay Russell, I'm going to take back on d5. That's the game where I'm up the queen. GM has gone c5 and locked the side. And I'm going to see if I could reopen the side. I'm going to try knight to b5 just to get my knight out of the way, see what he does about that c7 square. Maybe I could regroup or something like that. Knight h takes f6 from Little Fish. And now I'm just going to play pawn to h3 and go slow there. Snatch the pawn from the boards are just not cooperating here today, so I got to see what happens. Back to the Hayen board. And now Hayen is threatening to take on f5. Can I keep that? I'm going to try to play g4 and keep all this stuff. Okay, Jay Russell has gone knight bd7, trying to develop, and I'm thinking, all right, so I'm going to develop. I got to get myself castled, and knight takes a2 from bishop mate. And I have to move my rook somewhere. I'm going to move my rook to d1. And I got a real problem in that game. h6, I'm going rook e1. And now let's see what's happened with Cap Red. So against Cap Red, I won some material. And now, so my job here is to try and keep it all while I'm developing. Okay, so his rook is trapped in the corner. And he's threatening my knight. So I'm wondering in this position if I could just play something like knight to d1. And just try and get myself developed and then maybe take his rook after that. Okay, let's see what's happening against difficult. All right, Kronos is going for g5, a little bit coffee house there. And I really like my position in this game. And now I'm trying to figure out what's my best thing to do here. Maybe something like, I'm looking to see if I go d5, if I could take advantage of some holes in his position. Maybe I'm just going to go queen to c2, I think, and then try to keep him from coming out with his pieces. Queen takes h3 from Cap Red. And I'm going to see, can I go queen b7 and snatch some stuff here? I'm looking to see there's other things. Queen b7, queen takes c4. And, all right, I'm going to just go after see if I could trap his rook with queen to b7. Bishop back to b3 from Little Fish. I like that position. Ears, queen takes e7, and I'll go rook c1. And queen back to d8 from GM. So I've bothered him a little bit on the d6 square. And now I have to see what he might just be sending me back. Retreat. I'm gonna castle. And let's see. Queen takes b4 from Cap Red, and I'm gonna take his rook on a8. And this is a very messy game. Okay, now what's happening with b5 against moving Dutchman? Try and undermine him over there. I'm going to try that. Let's see how this one turns out. a6, GM has sent me backwards. I'm going to go knight to a3, see if I could use that. Queen check from Cap Red. I'm going to try knight e3. Knight, let's see. We got bishop mate has captured, and I'm going rook takes a3. And knight fd5, so we got to see what's happening here. Little Fish, I feel like I should play e4. And g6 from Hayen, trying to get his pawn back. Okay, now let's see what's going on. Creative rook. A lot of people moving fast, and the boards seem to be misbehaving a little bit. Okay, Hayen, I think I'm just going to go rook to e1, give the pawn back, and then bypass with g5. I like my position there. E6 from Funky Chess, and boards are getting really random here. Bishop mate has gone rook takes a3, and I guess I'll just go rook to c1 and g5 from Hayan, or rook to g5. That's a good question. I think I'm just going to go g5 and lock it, maintain a strong knight. Okay, now Funky Chess's board has switched. Okay, so now that's another game with the rook on a7. Just going to go rook e1 against Funky Chess and continue to develop. Creative Rook has gone e5, which opens it up with this weird rook on a7. I'm going to take bishop e3 for free, I think, and see, bother his rook. a4 from Moving Dutchman, and that's so he's trying to get me to divert my knight. What's going to happen there? So can I go queen to a7? A2, excuse me, and just keep everything going. b6 from Creative Rook. Creative Rook is starting to put together a decent position here. I think I'm just going to go h3 and stop knight g4 stuff. GM's gone bishop h6, and this is the kind of thing we expected. And now, let's see, is his knight really badly misplaced on h6? I'm going to hope so, because I'm going to take on h6. Knight b6 from J. Russell, and now I got to see here, can I go queen a5 and pin him and maybe bother him a little bit? Okay, now Cap Red has pinned my pawn. He's trying here to do something to my queen maybe, and I'm looking to see if I can bother him back. c5, is that a good move for my part? And let's see, where will he put his queen? I'm going to try c5 and then just try to develop. King f7 from Kronos, so I don't know. You'd have to say that Kronos' position probably hasn't worked out too well. I'm just going to go pawn to b3 and get my bishop out on the other side. Okay, Cap Red has gone queen c7, and I think I'm just going to develop with knight to h3. Kronos has gone knight to g6, and I have to look to see, does knight takes g5 do anything? No, I'll just play bishop b2. I'm happy with that position. Knight c5 from Dealmaker. And I'm I'm giving pawn to b4 a look. He goes en passant. I take back with a pawn. I don't know what the story with that is. Rook to c1 just looks like a normal move for me, so I'll do that. Knight d7, so I got J. Russell to go backwards. Is it important? Is the pawn on b2 important to me? Is what I'm wondering here. Maybe if that's the case, maybe I should go b3, or how to protect this pawn. I think I'm going to keep that pawn and go queen to a3. I have to be careful here, as pieces could get going in some kind of positions here. All right, now Kronos, I'm very tempted here to sacrifice on g5 and get some pawns. I think I'm going to try it. I mean, usually, when I have a better position, I don't want to sacrifice, but I think I'm going to sacrifice there and see if I could go after him. Strong center. Okay, Raster has gone e5. That's in the in this Cambridge Springs, and I seem to remember Kasparov doing something like a3 in that position. Rook e8 from Cap Red, and now I'm looking to see, is he going to trap my queen somehow here? I'm going to go rook to d1. And Little Fish has gone e6, and the problem with Little Fish's position is his bishop on c8 doesn't look so good. So I'm going to see if I could drum up some kind of attack here. Knight e4 from Bishop Mate. Let's see. I'll trade those knights. And knight takes g5 from Kronos. Bishop takes c3 from Raster. Creative Rook is starting to put together a position here. I'm going to go. Let's see. I'm thinking about pawn takes pawn. I think I'm just going to go knight to d2 there and develop. Okay, and now what's happening with Bishop Mate? I think he helped me by trading those knights. I'm going to try bishop to c7 and see if I could maybe get a pawn back or something. Now, against Raster. Do I want to take back with a pawn and trade queens there? I think, yeah, I don't know if he wants to trade queens with the center that I have. Okay, Dealmaker has gone rook to d8. Now, what's a nice plan for me here? I think I'm going to lift rook with rook to c3 and just try and, keep normal pressure going. E5 for little fish is tempting for me to work on dark squares. Funky Chess is playing this hippopotamus stuff. His position is absolutely decent here. I just have to make sure, what are his breaks going to be? I think I'm gonna try my bishop to the usual routine with the bishop to e3 and the queen to d2 with the dark squared bishop stuff. Okay, rook a5 from moving Dutchman, and I'm gonna play rook to b1 and just keep that pawn on b5 for now. I'm gonna do queen d2 against Funky Chess, and what's happening here? Bishop d7 from Hayen. Now, hey, and I'm wondering if I ever want to drop a knight in there. I think rook e5 looks like a nice move for me against Hey, and I'm going to occupy that. Okay, now what is Cap Red up to here? If he moves his knight, I get to take on a5. So I want to make sure my queen gets out of here. And does my queen get stuck if I play? Let's see. All right, I think I'm gonna see if I can go rook to d6 there. And on rook to d6, what is he trying to do to me? Is a good question. He gets to take on c5. I take a6. That looks okay, but if my rook is on d6, that might not be so wonderful. And if he goes a5 and knight d7, is my queen okay in there? It's a good question here. Its position is a little bit messy. I think f4 is a weird-looking move for me. I'm not completely convinced about it. So let me see what to do here. I'm looking at my queen is in there, and it would be nice to get it out. Let's see. So I wonder if I should have gone rook to a1, and then on a5, then he has to go a4, and it takes him longer. So if I go rook to a1 here, is that okay? And which means that rook d1 was not such a hot move, but I thought I had rook to d6 here, and I don't think I do. He goes. Let's see. He goes a5, and then some knight g4 thing or something, and not so clear there. So probably I should have gone. Maybe I should have gone a5. All right, I'm going to go rook to a1 then, and I'm going to see how that one looks. Queen takes a3 from Raster. He did take that pawn, and I guess I castle. I remember Kasparov sacking this pawn. Rook e8 from Hayen, and I'll just play rook e1, maintain a rook on e5. Rook e8 from J. Russell, and I'm going to castle. Knight takes e6 was my idea against Kronos. Bishop b7 from Funky Chess. I'm going to go bishop h6, exchange those bishops. And rook to b3 from Bishop Mate, and he's defended his pawn. And now I have to see what am I doing here. So, and maybe at some point he can push that pawn. I'm going to go f3 and try and give myself some air. And Kronos has gone queen e8. I'm going to go pinning with rook to e1 and maybe double. And now let's see what happened here with creative rook. His rook on a7 is still weird, but he's putting together a decent-looking position. Do I want to go pawn takes pawn? I'm going to go pawn takes pawn, and now let's see, f6 from Cap Red. And I mean, I feel like I'm doing okay here. I wish my knights. I wish I could get this knight back into the game. My knight on and I'm afraid to go king g1. I never know if a pin's going to show up. So let's see what to do against Cap Red after f6. f4, I cannot do that. I'm thinking about G3. Now, in this position, I'm up. I didn't really do a good. I was too busy. Now, Cap offered me a draw, and Cap really shouldn't offer me a draw when he is down 2 pieces, which is what it seems it is. So I'm just going to go G3, and then it seems like I'm up 2 pieces there, so I'm pretty happy about this. Knight C4 from Hayen, so I'm going to get rid of that knight and play for good knight versus a bad bishop situation. I'm going to chase bishop's mate, bishop around. I'm going to exchange against funky chess on G7. And now against Little Fish, I have to see if I could drum up some attack here. I was kind of thinking of playing knight H2 to G4 here just to see what he would do. I think I wish my knight would be more functional if it went the other way. So I'm going to try knight to H2 to G4, see if I can make an attack. Difficult has gone C5. That's a thematic move. Now I'm going to trade off. Let's see. What should I do against Hayen? Thinking about knight H5. And to go in there. Okay, I'm going to trade pawns. Funky chess. Queen F7 from Kronos. And now I'm trying to keep him all tied up here. There's some ways to do this. I'm thinking that I can snatch another pawn on B7. And I'm on the lookout to see if knight G4 is ever going to bother me. All right, I'm gonna snatch another pawn on B7, so I have nice material there. And we'll see how that goes. All right, I'm going to go bishop C6 against Kronos and see if I can make his rook go somewhere else. And now, moving Dutchman, I have to see what's going on here. What moment should I take somebody on C6? Not yet. Rook to C1 looks like a sensible move for me. E5 from Trivial Pursuit, and I guess I'll go D5 there and lock that. Queen G5 from Little Fish. And I'm going to see if I could go F4 and keep the queens on. And bishop mate has gone bishop back to G6, and this seems to be the only game where I'm in trouble. Let's see. Cap has gone king to G8, and now I'm thinking of going F4, excuse me, and just trying to see can I get in there. I'm going to go F4. All right, I made Kronos' rook move off the file, and now I'm just going to go bishop back to G2. Knight E6 from Dealmaker, and I'm thinking of going rook F3 and trading a lot of stuff, but then he might get some kind of play on my C-pawn, would be a normal kind of looking thing for him to do. So I'm wondering if I can just retreat here with knight back to F3 perhaps. Let's see, or E3. I'm not so sure, or maybe give myself some air. I'm going to try air with H4 and see how that one goes. Okay, now what do I do against Trivial Pursuit? Sometimes in these things, G4 is the right move, but I feel like I'm playing on all sides, which is not a recommended thing to do. All right, now let's see what happens on Cap Red. I'm going to go F5, lock him up. And moving Dutchman has gone bishop to G5. And now let me see. When can I finally do something here? Knight to E2 doesn't. Knight to E2. I'm warning about now. He's threatening. Is he threatening bishop takes E3? I don't think so. So do I want to go H4? And how do I pile on here? What about rook to B4? I think I'm going to just play some move here and get out of the way with king to H1 just in case. Okay, rook B2 check from bishop mate. I'm going to go king to G3. All right, now Cap Red. I feel like I have a nice position here. Up a couple of pieces. So I just would like to regroup my pieces. I'm thinking of locking. And I'm wondering, I have knight G4 ideas here. I've got him tied up on the file. I could go rook takes A6 and have 3 pieces for a rook any time. I'm thinking of regrouping this knight back. I'm going to go knight back to G1 and get that knight out of there. Castle. Let's see, E6 from Zebile. And now let me see what to do here. Looking at various things here. Queen F4. I don't know. I mean, he gets these bishop takes F3 things. I don't know. Queen F4 is a strange looking move. I'm going to see if I can do it. Rook takes E5 from Hayen. I go rook takes E5 back. I'm trying to bother him on some squares. Funky Chess is playing funky chess, but his position is really not bad at all. Now let me see what am I doing to little fish here. I'm up to something here. All right, I'm going to go king H2 and get my king out of the way, and then see what's up. All right, Raster, I'm trying to play like Kasparov, which is not an easy thing to do. Rook E8. Now I'm wondering if I can go E4, and I remember Kasparov taking over the center in those kinds of games. Okay, bishop mate has gone rook to B1. I'm happy to trade. I'll be down a pawn, but I think my position is trying to get better. Hayen has gone queen to G6. And I have to be a little careful what to do with this knight now. I could go rook to E7, queen takes H5, rook E7. Don't like the looks of that. I guess I should probably go just retreat knight to G3 and hope I can put those pieces back where they are. Trivial Pursuit's the game where I was really not happy about playing on both sides in a samish. Okay, king G7 from Cap Red. I'm just going to go knight F3. Queen takes D4 from Dealmaker. Little Fish, I've gotten his queen to retreat, and now I'm wondering about this. I'm thinking about going F5 and seeing what's the deal there. Queen D7 from Cap Red, and I'm not really sure what he's trying to do there. He doesn't. His knight can't get developed, so I think I'm going to go H4 and try and open him up on the other side. I have to keep in mind there I'm up 2 pieces, which I wasn't really looking at most of the time. Okay, now what's going on here against Moving Dutchman? He's really done a good job defending his D pawn, and I'm looking for tricks all over the place. And I mean, it's very. I'm considering all kinds of tricks here to work on his D pawn. I'm wondering if I could just go. What he might be threatening to take on B5 at the right moment, and let's see what to do here. Knight F3 make his good bishop go backwards. Not sure what I'm doing there. Doubling on the C file might be the right thing to do. I'm going to try rook to C2. Okay, bishop mate. I'm going to take on B6, and let's see what Kronos did. Kronos made a good move, D5, and that's going to shut down my bishop. Knight takes E5 from Creative Rook. I'm going to trade. And now, what do I want to do against Kronos? Let's see what sort of things I could do to him here. His knight on G6 is defending his position. I think I'm going to try to go C5 and lock it and then push my pawns on the queen side. DVS has gone knight to D5, and everything looks under control there. I'm going to just develop with bishop to E2 and take it easy. Queen D7 from Dogmeat. What's he trying to do? I'm just going to go king H2 just in case. Bishop to D7 from Trivial Pursuit. And now, how do I develop my pieces in this game? I think I'm going to try queen to D2. My king is getting very strange in this game. Okay, now Kronos has gone knight E4. Did he trap my rook? Is a question. No, he might be threatening to take on F2 sometimes. So what's going on here? All right, I'm going to try to keep my rook and go rook to A6 and see what kind of story happens there. I might have lost control a little bit there, so we'll see. All right, dog meat, rook AD8. I'm going to see if I could go F4. Zebal is going queen takes, bishop takes, F3. And now I guess I go queen takes, F3. C6 from Trivial Pursuit seems very reasonable, trying to attack the center. I'm going to try pawn to H4. Like I said, playing on all sides, kind of weird. Funky chess, bishop takes D5. I have to take that one. And now G5. I thought Little Fish would offer a trade of queens again. I'm going to go F6 and try to mate him. Pawn takes D5 from Zebile, and I will go pawn takes D5 back. And Funky Chess, what's going on here? Am I a little better? I'm going to try queen to F4 and see if I can keep him from developing. Little Fish, can I go knight takes H6, trying to mate him? Let's see, bishop takes G5, bishop G5. Now, what's going on here against Kronos? I could take on E4 and try some D5 check thing. Is maybe something possible for me. I don't know. I'm thinking about F4 stuff, and I always have to be careful he doesn't sacrifice on me. And if I do this D5 check stuff, how long does my pawn on D5 last? So rook takes E4 and then having the bishop pair and then going D5. I don't know what that is. That's kind of interesting also. I might try that. All right, I don't know. Rook takes E4. I'm threatening to do that. And then D5 and to take bishop takes. All right, I'm going to try that. That's turning into a rook sack now. Okay, E5 from bishop mate. And I'm going to go bishop to B5 now. If I make a draw in this game, I think I'm happy. All right, and now I'm going to go D5 against Kronos. Discovered check. Pawn takes B5 from moving Dutchman, and I thought I was just going to take something on D5. B5 knight takes B5. Is that allowed? And see what happens. Okay, now against G6, against bishop mate, I'm going to go bishop takes C6. And it's a bishop opposite color, and I'm quite happy to make a draw in that game because I think I was getting murdered. Okay, Funky Chess has played rook C8. And how do I put some pressure on his position? I'm going to try A5. Let's see, bishop C5 from bishop mate, and I'm just happy here, like I said, to make a draw. Plato lag with knight E5, and I'm going bishop C2. I'm going to have to start moving a little faster. Pawn to B5 from Funky Chess. And now, do I want to play something like rook lift, maybe? And am I bothering him on any files here? Knight E5, I don't know. I'm gonna try rook to A3. See if I can bother. Okay, queen takes C2 from moving Dutchman. Hayen has gone F4, and now I have to be a little careful. Where do I put my where do I put this knight now? It seems like I would like to go knight E2 to snatch F4 and see what's there. But knight E4 looks probably like the safer thing to do, so I'm going to go knight E4. DVS, I'm getting in a really bad time pressure there. I'm just going to cancel. I better start moving faster. Queen C7 from Cap Red. I'm going to go pawn takes pawn. Bishop D4 check from J. Russell. I'm castling. Queen F6 from Funky Chess. And what's this? Can I go queen takes and then take the... I'm going to go queen takes and see if I can bother his backward pawns. All right, now Cap Red, the board changed. And now Difficult has gone knight C6. And I'm going to go rook to B1. J. Russell, I have to be a little careful. Now he's doing something to me. His pieces are starting to get a little active. I'm going to go knight F2. I'm playing very safe. I have two pieces for the queen, but I'm not unraveling in any kind of nice way. J. Cap Red, we're already on move 36. Wow. Knight to G4 looks good. I'm going to see if I can bother him. And King F7 from Bishop mate. I'm going to go f4. Creative rook is attacking my bishop on c2. On d3, I'm just going to go knight to c4. DVS has gone f6, bothering my pawn. And now let's see, what should I do there? I could go f4, I suppose, and just defend it. And I think that's what I'll do. And now what's happening here with Bishop e7 from Moving Dutchman? He's keeping an eye on things. Now, I'm very tempted here. Queen c7, does it do something? Queen c7, and then where does he go? I'm going to try this queen c7 and see if that bothers him at all. I got to be careful with my queen down there. Uh-oh, knight takes d5 from Jay Russell. Jay Russell is starting to recoup some material here. I have to be careful about this. You know, when the opponent's king is safe, he's recouping some material. I got to see what to do here. All right, I'm afraid I'm starting to give some stuff back here, maybe too much stuff. Okay, what's happened? Plato lag has gone. C6 hitting at my center. How do I what do I want to do to him here? Knight to d4. Looking for some kind of stuff here. I'm going to go pawn takes c6 and play for better pawn structure. b5 from DVS. I'm going to go, sorry, he just moved. Went knight takes. Can I go knight takes d5? Looks okay. And now Cap Red's going queen e7. And he's threatening my pawn with check. And I didn't really want my pawn to be threatened with check. Can I just go king to g2 and get out of the way? Okay, now DVS has gone recapture with the queen. I'm going to go knight back to e3. And rook takes e2 from Jay Russell. And now I'm giving lots of stuff back in this position. Maybe too much stuff. Knight to e4. Queen c7 for Cap Red. And now, okay, so I got out of the way of some stuff. Now, when can I start to do something here? Rook to d1 maybe? And if he goes knight to d7, all right, I'm going to try some rook to d1 thing here and try and get in after him. Okay, knight c6 from Plato lag. And I just want to develop my bishop. This bishop to f4, hitting the backward pawn feels logical. Let's see. DVS has gone queen e6. I'm tempted to do d5 and then maybe bother his rook or his bishop on c7 or something. All right, can I do that? Or should I just go e6? All right, I'm just going to go f5 and make a protected pass pawn. Okay, I got Kronos to move his king to h6. And I thought that was going to be very nice for me. And then the board switched. So I don't have the faintest idea what's going on here. And I'm now on Difficult's board, and Difficult is thinking. So Simon's been going on for slightly more than an hour. And I think that the one game where I was in trouble, I think I've made it into a bishop opposite color draw. And let's go to other boards here. Cap Red has gone a5, and now I'm looking to see. I thought I liked rook to d6. I got to be a little careful about this. I am up some pieces here, so I could probably give something back to get my queen out of the way, and I'm wondering about that. At this point, maybe just going rook to d6 here, and then just maybe giving a little something back. Okay, now let's see what DVS is up to here. My center got a little weak, so I think I'm going to try to make a protected pass pawn with e6. Okay, Kronos. Bishop takes e4 and hit the knight on g6. Start to tie him down a little bit. Okay, now knight takes f6 from Funky Chess, and I think I'm going to try to bother his backward pawn and play something like rook to c3. DVS has gone queen d6, and I will play g3. Now, what's going on with Zebal? Zebal has played knight to c4, And in this position, I'm looking at interesting stuff here. Can I go rook to? If I go rook to e4, what does he play there? I would like. It would be nice if I got him to lock this somehow. I'm thinking. I'm looking bishop g5, but not so clear on that. So rook e4, I get him to go. Let's see, on rook e4, I can, maybe he must play c5 there. I think I'm going to just try rook to b1 against Zebile and just take it easy and protect my stuff, try and unravel a little bit. Okay, queen d7 from Plato lag. This game, I have to get moving. Queen d2. Let's see, Kronos. Okay, now Kronos, I feel like I got him kind of tied up here, but how do I make something else happen? I'm going to try I can try f4 and then f5 and win a piece back. And if he goes pawn takes pawn, pretty interesting business here. Okay, I'm going to try f4 against Kronos. His knight is pinned, so even though my king could get open on the file, I think it's all right. All right, let's see what Deviance is up to. Deviance just is bothering my pawn. I'm just going to try knight to c2. I'm counting a lot on my protected pass pawn to jam his pieces. Okay, Cap Red has got knight to d7. And I'm looking at all kinds of weird stuff here. I mean, I'm even thinking about queen takes a5. And then he takes my queen and I go rook takes d7. I don't know. That might be a little bit too crazy. So I think I'm just going to go rook takes d7 there and just take on a5 and let my knights do the job. Okay, bishop takes f4 from Kronos, and I'm going to go pawn takes f4. This position got really sharp. Okay, now back to Trivial Pursuit. He's gone rook to c8, and I think I'm going to try to open him with h5 so that if he opens that side, I'm going to be okay. King h8 from Heian, and I should probably do the same and get my king out of the way. And rook to d6 from Kronos. A pretty interesting looking move. He unpins the knight. So I don't know. I mean, he's going to get a discovered check. All right, I'm gonna go for it, and I'm gonna see. I could get mated here, so I'm gonna go pawn takes d6. Let's see what happens. Pawn to f5 from dog meat, and I guess, do I have to take on f5? I think I must take on f5, and now bishop a6 from moving Dutchman. And let me see what am I up to here. Is my queen going to be okay, or is my queen getting in trouble? I was just going to go knight to c3, and then I don't know. A6 could be hanging. All right, I might have to go bishop. Let me try bishop to f1 and see if I could keep everything together. Bishop mate has offered me a draw. If bishop mate offers another draw, I will take it, and I will offer him a draw. That's just a bishop opposite colors. That's I think that's one of the games I wasn't really happy with how I was playing it. I think I'm just going to go h4. If he wants a draw, he has it. Let's see what happened with Cap Red. Cap Red's got a pass pawn. He's trying to get it going, and I will just block it for a little bit, I guess. Well, I don't know. I think I'm going to try to get tactical on him and see if I could do something here. Bishop e4 from bishop mate, and I think I can just go g5 there. And let's see, take queens off against Dealmaker. Jay Russell, I'm giving back so much stuff here. I mean, and I have to see. I'm banking on one kind of thing. Okay, now what happened with Cap Red here? Can I go knight takes e5 against Cap Red and try and get through there? King f5 from bishop mate, and I think I'm just going to move my bishop back and forth. And I don't see any way for him to get in. Deviance, rook d8, and now let me see what to do here. I could protect my pawn with bishop d3. I could go bishop f5 and maybe give some stuff back. I think I'm just going to protect the pawn with bishop to e3 and see how my passed pawn looks. A6 from Plato leg. I'm going to just play logical there, get my pieces out. And now against moving Dutchman, I'm going to try to get my queen back into the action here with queen back to c2. All right, now, Jay Russell, how do I do something to him here? This is just unbelievable. All right, can I go queen? I'm going to see if I could go queen to a8. And, and I have a queen. I'm going to see if I can worm the queen around there. Okay, now, rook e8 from Zeboil. And let's see. I'm thinking of just moving my bishop to f4. Do I want to let him do the trading? Okay, I'm going to move my bishop to f4. Okay, queen h5 from Heian looks like a good move, and I need to defend that pawn. And what's the best way for me to defend this pawn? Queen to f2. Try and defend the pawn with queen to f2. I got to keep an eye on my king there. Okay, cap red. He's got this pawn coming down here, but I am trying to mate him. So I'm just going to go knight to g4. And bishop made off me a draw, and we agreed to a draw. Okay, so like I said, that was one of the few games where I didn't like my position, and I managed to survive. Okay, now Raster has just gone knight c7. I can go d5 maybe and try and get my pawn back. I don't know. I'm looking to see what is he up to here. Some knight e6 stuff. Maybe I'll just go rook e1 and take it easy there and just keep on developing. Okay, deal maker when bishop e6. And I think that I'm just going to take up space with f4 and see if I can get through there. All right, Jay Russell's going rook to e8. That's forced. And now I have to see. I'm going to try queen to c7. I don't think he's got any good discoveries. And cap red, what's happening here? I was going to go e5. And that threatens to fork his queen. Knight takes f4 check came from Kronos. And I'm going to go king to h1. That's a very confusing game. f6, Trivial Pursuit, I'm going to take on h6. So at least when his king opens up, that's going to be okay for me. And now Zeboil, I think I'm just going to go queen to d3. I think I came out of the Zeboil game in decent shape. Okay, cap red. I'm trying to bother him here, maybe trying to mate him. Let me take on f6 with check. Try and pry that king open. Dog meat. I'm looking to see if I could go knight to d5 ever. And he's going to have some kind of thing there. I'm looking to see trades and whatnot. Knight d5. If he bothers me, is he really bothering me? Knight e4 kind of stuff. I think I'm going to get out of the way with king to h2 so that there's no queen c6. Okay, looks like moving Dutchman says looks like he could breathe again, but I don't know. I was kind of happy about the pawn. I'm and the bishop opposite color. Maybe I'm bothering his pawns. So, okay, now what's going on with cap red here? I would like to get some mates going. I'm thinking about f7. f7, what happens there? Or knight take queen. I need my queen on an open file. Queen h1 looks cool. Okay, now here we go with Kronos. This game's gotten out of control badly. He's threatening mate all over, but now it's my turn for discovered check. Pawn takes c7. Now, his king has to go somewhere, right? And it looks like he can't go up. So I'm going to take the pawn and see discovered check. Looks interesting business going on there. Okay, Zeboil has gone queen d7. And I think that I think I'm through the worst in this game. I thought I was having problems but with knights all over my face, but I feel like I've survived it decently. Pawns are even. I think I'm just going to go h3 and just see how it goes. Okay, now, king to h5. f5 from Kronos, and the board's moved again. And now, let's see, creative rook is threatening some stuff. I'm going to go queen c2. Creative rook has come out of that in good shape. Okay, now Kronos, I was about to see, is queen. Can I go queen to e2 check? And it better be check, so it's check. Where does his king go? All right, we got bishop f5 from Hayen, and now is he threatening to take my knight off in some situation? I think he is, but then his h pawn is bad. I don't know what's going on here. I'm wondering about. I'm looking at moves like knight to d6, and if he goes queen takes h5, is there anything way for me to bother him there? What else? I didn't really want him to take that knight off. I wish I could keep that knight. So I don't know. I mean, h4. All right, I'm going to try h4. I'm not so happy about this. I thought I had better. Okay, now what's happening here? I have to be a little careful with dvs. I think I'm going to just go bishop to f3 and try and cancel out that diagonal. Queen e8, king e8 from cap red. He's making a run for it. And now, let's see. Very, very confusing game. Can I play knight to e5? Which knight to e5? And then try and corner his king. And let's see, he can get a few checks, and then I'm blocking. I think I'm happy here with this knight to e5. Okay, knight f8 from Raster. Raster is trying to regroup, and then he's going to try and get his passed pawns going. I'm just going to go h3 in case bishop to g4 was annoying. Okay, and now let's see what happens. Deal maker when king f8, and I think I'm going to come out with my king. He's coming out with his king. Rook takes e4 from Hayen. Now, what's going on here against Trivial Pursuit? I'm trying to keep his king in the middle. My king is in the middle. No, my king is in the middle. Sorry, rook to c1 coming out here. Let's see what Plato Lag is up to. At some moment, knight e5 has got to be a good move for me. I think I'm going to switch diagonals with my bishop. Try and bother him on the f7 square. Rook e7 from Zebile. And at what point against Zebile should I ever bail out and take something? Okay, I'm going to try rook takes e7, maybe use the file. Okay, bishop e5 from J. Russell. And I'm going to try queen to c7 to bother him on f7. Zebile, I'm going to go bishop to d2 and c. And now what happened here with cap red, I'm going to go queen h8 check. Knight g6, bishop g3 against Raster. Looks like what I wanted to have happen. And now what's going on here with Kronos' king? If I go bishop to... I have some nice ones here. I don't know. Bishop to f6, I got to be careful. Bishop c1. There's a lot of bishops here all of a sudden. Bishop to c1 for me. What does he do? Where does his king go? I'm going to try bishop to c1 check. At least his king's in the way, and I've broken his attack. Okay, against J. Russell, he's going f6, and I'm just going to go... I think I'm going to go h3 and give myself some air. It's not really air yet, but that looks like the right thing to do. Keep him tied to that b pawn. Knight c7 from Trivial Pursuit. Can I just go knight to g3? I'm trying to unravel myself. Let's see. Raster has gone knight e6, and now I'm always wondering here, when should I do something? I mean, d5 is feeling like something I should really be thinking about. I want to make sure I don't trade too many pieces off. I could chase his queen around a little bit, maybe chase his queen down to e7. All right, I'm going to try rook to a1 and see if I can chase his queen somewhere. Okay, Plato log, knight a5. I retreat with bishop a2. Knight f4 check from Kronos, so he blocked with a block. And well, it's not. Sorry, it's not knight. It's not check. And now I have some nice moves here. I mean, I'm looking at queen to g2 check to use the pin. And then where does his king go? So let's see, queen to g2, and then if his king goes up, all right, I'm going to try queen to g2, and this one's really kind of gotten it's fun, but it's gotten very crazy. Bishop to f3 with deal maker. I'm trying to get space on him. Okay, bishop to g3 on J. Russell. He's pinning me to the back rank, and I'm trying to keep him from moving. It's not easy to do for either side here. Now I'm thinking of trying something like pawn to b4, and then to see if I can recover that pawn, and then see what to do. Queen to b8. I this game is the back rank thing is bothering me a lot. All right, I'm just going to go pawn to b3. We have each other tied up here. It's a pretty interesting game. Okay, now what happened with difficult? Difficult has gone rook to b8, normal looking move. And I have to move fast here. And I'm going to try a queen to a4. Okay, I got Raster's queen to go back. And I'm wondering if I should, I'm going to try pawn to d5 just to do something going. All right, now, cap red, do I have queen takes b8 and knight c7 check? All right, now let's see what to do here against Kronos. Bishop f3 looks like it could be the end for him. And knight d7 check against cap red, and that should be the end for him. Rook takes g5 from Heian. And so he's got a bit of a threat there, and I want to see what can I do to him here. If I go king to g2, is he prying me open? So I have to be a little bit careful here against Heian. Rook to e5 makes a pass pawn. I think I used to be winning this game, but I don't feel like I am anymore. Okay, knight takes c5 against cap red. Let's see, rook e1 against e8 for Zebal, and I think I'm happy to trade the rooks off. Queen e8 from Trivial Pursuit, and I think I just want to develop with what here? Bishop to e2. Zebal, let's trade off the rooks. Looks like snatching a pawn from moving Dutchman, and let's see what I'm getting in a time pressure on some boards. Let's see, I have to be careful here. So if I take on a5, he's got an annoying pass a pawn. Well, I have to do it. Take on a5, give him the annoying pass a pawn. Okay, Zebal offered a draw at some point, and I didn't see it. Otherwise, maybe I would have taken it. And I'm going to see, can I go bishop to e3? I think I might be a little bit better there. Queen takes a4 movement Dutchman. And now, let's see what to do here. I'm getting in a time pressure all over the place. I'm trying to figure out what to do here against J. Russell. How to get in here. I got him tied up a little bit, but I mean, it's real trouble moving stuff. Hold on. Should he have moved his rook off at f8? I don't know about that. He might be giving me a chance to do something. I'm going to try, well, I don't know. I'm going to try rook to f3. I think I played rook to f3. Okay, moving Dutchman has attacked my knight, and I'm going to play knight to f3. And now let's see if he can get his passed pawns going. Okay, I'm going to go rook to f3 against J. Russell. And try and eliminate background stuff. Somehow, I played f3 by accident against creative rook hanging a piece. That was one of the games where the board moves. So that's life in the... that's the way it goes on the internet. So hung a piece in a better position. Rook AD1 obviously would have been a normal move, but it's happened before. So, I mean, that's sort of the way it goes. Okay, now let's see what's happening with moving Dutchman seems to be talking to me a lot during this game. I'm going to go knight e5. All right, now what's happening with dog meat? Queen f7 looks like a good move for him. I'm just making sure that when he goes knight e4, it doesn't bother me a whole hell of a lot. I'm going to go knight to b5 and trade those bishops off. Okay, bishop to knight h5 from play to log. I got to really start moving fast here. Bishop e3. Rook e8, bishop e5 from J. Russell. I'm going to go rook e3. Sometimes exchange sacks. Knight a6 from DVS. And I'm going to just go queen to d2, try and get my pieces out. h6 from Heian. And I have a passed pawn, but can I bother him with that passed pawn? Is what I'm wondering about here. Let's see what to do here. If I take, he might take e5. Taking on h7 is probably not so hot. Let me try king to g2. Okay, now rook h6 check against Kronos. It would be nice to get a couple of games over with. Knight e4 from moving Dutchman. And I guess I will go queen to... Now, I have to be careful. Queen to c2. And does he have some kind of tricks? All right, queen to c2 I will do. And now let's see what happened with Kronos. I think I can just go rook takes h5. And that should do it. Just trade everybody, right? Rook takes h5. Okay, now, h takes g5. I'm hanging. I was banking on my passed pawn. I'm going to snatch on a7 and see if I could take some pawns with check. Knight c4 from play to leg. And now, big time pressure all over the place here. Play to leg. All right, let me snatch a pawn and then see. I'm going to resign against... Sorry, I never take the tape backs against creative rooks, so I'll resign that one. And snatch the pawn against Plato leg. And now, against J. Russell, I was thinking of sacking this exchange on e5 to see if I could break him there. Okay, now let's see what happens with Raster. I think now, should I go d6? Trying not to have him develop here. Bishop c2. All right, bishop c2. Just keeping the tension. Rook takes against dog meat. Trivial Pursuit's king's making a run for it. And I'm going to get my king out also. So I'm starting to move very fast here on these boards. See what the heck's going on. F5 from Dealmaker, and let's see. I'll try E4, open it up. Raster has gone bishop to D7, and I'm just going to see is Queen B4. I don't know if it does something. Okay, now against J. Russell, if I push my D pawn, can I win a pawn? Can I win a bishop? I hope so. I'm seeing. Okay, let's see. DVS. I will go bishop to F4. Interesting game here with Heian. I'm going to go queen b8 check, try and take some pawns with check. Rook h1 against Trivial Pursuit. Let me go pawn takes pawn against Dealmaker. b6 against Raster. And I'm going to try knight to d4. Okay, DVS. I'm trying to get some moving fast here. Let's see. Now, I got to be a little careful against DVS. Not really liking the way I played this. Okay, bishop d6 from moving Dutchman. And let's see. I'm trying to keep his A pawn under control. All right, now let's see. We got rook. We're going to go g4 against Dealmaker, trying to take some space. h5 against J. Russell. I'm happy to win that bishop. Pawn takes pawn against Raster. And let's see. Raster is starting to break up my pawns. And then he goes queen to f6. What's happening with that? I'm not sure that I like this. All right, I'm going to try pawn takes pawn. I think Raster's coming out of this in a decent shape. Dog meat. Let's see, dog meat. What to do here? I'm thinking about something like I have to make sure that I don't get mated here. I'm going to try rook e1, get rid of the rooks. Queen takes b7 for Hayen. I'm going to check him some, see if I could get anything from that. Queen e7 from Zebile. And now, let me see. Zebile, I was thinking of sacking a pawn, but I don't really see what that's about. Zebile, can I go king to f1 and just get closer with my king and see if I could do something later? All right, now, rook e8 from Plato lag, and I'm thinking about some knight d5 stuff. Bishop d4 looks okay, too. Knight e4 from moving Dutchman. Queen e8 trying to get his pawn going. And that pawn could get down there in a hurry, I'll tell you. So I got to be a little careful about that pawn. Let me see. Let me see if I could go queen a2 and block it. Good move from DVS. After my bishops, I'll go rook to d1. I'm really in time pressure all over the place here. a4 coming from moving Dutchman. I'm gonna move the king. I'm gonna try and block that pawn. Okay, now let's see what's happening with Hayen here. I'm gonna give him another check against Hayen. I might have to take a draw by perpetual check. Okay, now Zebal's stuck his queen on b2. Is that bothering me? I'm gonna play safe and go queen to b1. Queen trade offer from difficult. Let's see, do I take it or what's the story? All right, I'm going to take the queen trade offer. And now moving Dutchman. Queen c6 looks like a good move. And how do let's see, I have to block this pawn. Queen to a1. I'm going to try queen to a1. I'm going to try and do like some light square blockading. Queen check from J. Russell. J. Russell's trying to hold it together. Now, a very weird move here in the Hayen game. I don't know. I'm gonna try queen to d7 and get a little closer, and then I'll see what happens next. Okay. Plato lag has gone f5. I'm wondering if I take on f5, is his idea to just to play some kind of takes on f3. I'm going to try that. My king gets open, but so does his. Okay, now, rook c5 from Dealmaker. I'm going to go check and see if I could double rooks in some situation. DVS is really outplaying me in this game. He's trying to get in c5. I'm going to go pawn to b4 and see if I could stop him. Okay, so a3 from moving Dutchman, and then I got to see this pawn is coming towards me. And I'm going to see, I'm looking at things like knight to c5. Tricky looking move. Okay, got to snatch pawn against J. Russell. I think I'm happy there. I don't think I'm going to lose, but we'll see what happens. Okay, Dealmaker has gone king f7. And now, I don't know. I mean, sometimes I'm wondering if I could push his bishop off the board. But push it to where, though? It might want to go to a2. So let me see here. Bishop e4 is some sort of tempting move. I think I'm going to go pawn. Let's see. Do I want to go pawn to h5? Pawn to f5, he might break me up sometimes. Bishop to e4, I'm wondering. Okay, I'm going to go bishop to e4, try and bother him. Okay, now, what's going on here? Moving Dutchman took, and he gets some kind of... Yeah, he's going to get queen f6 in. And so moving Dutchman may have a winning position. Okay, now what's going on here? I'm going to try queen check against Hayen. Let's see what's going on with J. Russell. J. Russell's trying to open me up, but I don't know. He should be careful that he doesn't open himself up. Okay, now what's happening with difficult? I'm going to try rook to b5 against difficult and see if I could snatch something. Okay, now what's going on? I'm going to try and get my king closer against J. Russell. It's the only thing. And queen f6 against moving Dutchman, and I think moving Dutchman has won the game. So a good game from moving Dutchman. Very, very, very good defense there. So I've lost one on a mouse slip, but I don't take the mouse slips back. So so that's the way it goes. That's what do they call that? That's chess on the internet, right? Okay, now what's happening against Rouster? Rouster has passed pawns to bother me with. And I've gotten myself into time pressure all over the place. All right, I'm going to bring my king up against Jay Russell. This game, GM, I haven't seen this one in a long time. And so that's not a good sign for me there. Okay, now it looks like DVS. I'm trying to put this back together again. And he's trying to go A5, which is a good move. And I'm trying to see at what moment I was having a hard time unblockading him. I guess I'm going to try H4 and make my king safe there, taking on E4 against Dealmaker. Rook takes E1 against Raster. Dealmaker has gone Rook D7, solid move, just stopping threats. I'm going to go King to F3. Maybe this position is okay for me. And now what's happening against Hayen? I can check him again, and then I was hoping. Let me see. I'm going to check him one more time on E6 and see if there's some kind of mate thing going on there. All right, now Plato Lag has gone Queen F7, trying to recapture his pawn back. That makes sense, and I think I'm going to, let's see. Now, can I keep that pawn with Queen to D3, and if he goes Knight F4, I want to be careful. I'm going to try Queen C2 and keep the pawn. I could get mated on G2. All right, now, Hayen, threatening, I'm thinking about going E6. And then if he checks me, he's got a lot of checks, but I'm threatening a mate, so I don't know what's going on here. I can get out of the way of some checks. Maybe I don't know if I go King to F2. Is that a sensible move? Let me try King to F2 to get out of some checks. I'm not sure if that gets out of checks, but okay. Queen F6 from Raster. And now Raster it looks like he's going to get his passed pawns going at some point, pretty soon, I would think. All right, I'm going to try Knight to F3 here. I'm trying to hold this together. I didn't do a good job there either. Okay, now we got DVS is trying to crack me here, and he's threatening the A5 pawn, which is good. And I'm going to try A3 here. D5 from Dealmaker. I go pawn takes pawn. Zebile has gone H6, and I don't know. I'm going to go King 2. I don't know if I go. I'm going to try, I guess, Bishop to E4 or something. I'm just trying to hold this together. Rook takes A4 from Dealmaker. And Queen E5 snatching my pawn from Hayen. So that was not good, hanging that E pawn. And now I think I'm happy with a draw. I'm just going to keep on checking. So I'm happy with a draw there. Taking on B5 with the knight looks good against Trivial Pursuit. I'm going to take with the knight on D4 against DVS is confusing me here. I've really mangled this simul. I'm going to go Rook to C1 against Trivial Pursuit. I don't have much time on that board. Rook to D2 from Dealmaker. And I'm going to go Rook to B4. Jay Russell's coming up with his king. I'm gonna check him a lot. That's a queen against a rook. Check against Plato Lag. Now what's going on here? Knight F4 from Plato Lag. I'm gonna go Bishop E3 and try and get rid of that guy. Rook H2 from Dealmaker. I'm gonna go King to G3, protect my pawn. And now I'm trying to get my king closer to Jay Russell. I'm just going to go pawn to G3, try and slow him down. Checking all over the place here. Let me take on C8 against Trivial Pursuit. Checking again against Hayen. I do have an outside pass pawn. This is the people have moved so fast here in this time. Okay, now why can't I take on E3 against Jay Russell? Knight h3 check against Plato lag, and I'm going to go king to g2. Let's see. Now, I can be slightly better against Trivial Pursuit, I think, in this game. Now, I don't know, do I want to open up his queen? I think I should go queen c2 there and box his queen out. Maybe I could be slightly better. Okay, let's see what's happening now against Plato lag. I'm going to go queen to e4. And I haven't hung anything yet. Rook h1 from Dealmaker. And I'm going to double rooks on the E file and try and tie him down a little bit. Okay, Heian is going king f6, and am I happy to go queen check and see if I could take something? Okay, queen takes queen against Dogmeat. I was happy to trade queens there also. Knight takes bishop against Trivial Pursuit. Let me get my king closer against Dogmeat. Knight b6 from GM, and I think I just want to retreat with knight to e3. Okay, now I have to be a little careful against Dogmeat. When can he play knight to d4? Okay, I'm going to go king f3. Can't go knight to d4 yet. It's going to be interesting to see who gets the outside pass pawn going. Let's see, against Zebile, I'm wondering when should I ever go g4? Zebile, we had this kind of position. I went queen b1 already. I'm going to do it again. Raster, rook e8. Okay, I'll trade some rooks. And now, Heian, I'm just checking a lot here. I'm going to go queen d7 check and see what's going on there. Okay, now, against Raster, what do I do here? Bishop opposite colors, I don't know if that's doing anything for me. I'm just going to get my king out with king h2 to stay out of some checks. Okay, Trivial Pursuit. I'm going to try some bishop to b6 things, see if that does anything. And so I think I lost one game on a mouse slip, but it was a tough position. Okay, g6 from Dealmaker, and now let's see what to do here. How do I get my pawns going in this game? He stymies my pawns by doing that. I don't know if I want to go g5 here. Okay, I'm going to try g5. At the very least, it keeps his rook from going. Okay, pawn takes pawn from difficult, and I'm going to go knight takes pawn. Never been in such bad time pressure on these boards. Okay, now hold on here. Heian, this is a weird game because sometimes I'm trying to draw, and then the next moment I think I'm trying to win. I think probably I can go queen g4 and take his h-pawn with check. But then my queen's a little out of it. I think probably I should just go queen check and make a draw there. And let's see. No, I sent a draw offer by accident to GM. I'm just going to go h5 there. I mean, the board switches and I send draw offers by accident. So let's see what's happening here. Bishop h6 from Trivial Pursuit. Seems like a decent move. And now I'm wondering if I could get in there with my queen, with queen c7 or something. Let me. I don't know if that means if my bishop can get stuck on there. Well, I think a4 should be the right thing to do for me. Let's just take our time. Okay, b5 from Zebile. And I don't know. I'm thinking, can I go knight e? I'm going to try knight e2 and see what happens there. Okay, Heian was offering me a draw. I don't know. I think I'm going to offer him a draw, and we've checked each other all over the place millions of times. So let's see what the heck, if it finally becomes a draw. Zebile has retreated his queen, and I'm going to try to offer a trade of queens there. Rook check from Dealmaker, and I'm going to go. I have to make sure that his rooks don't get into my position here. I'm going to try king to f3. Okay, now I got GM going backwards. All right, I'm going to try pawn to g3 there. And don't give me more time, and it's not allowed, okay? So do not give me more time. I don't need more time. Okay, so please try not to do that. Okay, now what's happening here with dog meat? Dog meat's trying to stymie my pawns, and I'm trying to figure out if I can get into a king and pawn ending somehow. With an outside pass pawn. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Okay, now let's see. Deal maker, I'm up a pawn for nothing, but it's not so easy. And I wonder. All right, I'm gonna try to bother him here. I'm gonna try and crawl my king up. Now, dog meat is a good question here. Like, what is this king and pawn ending? I don't know. I mean, should I? I'm gonna try to make an outside pass pawn. I'm not really sure what this position is. Okay, DVS has gone rook a2. That looks good, and I have to protect that. Can I protect it with bishop to e4? Trade queens from Zebile. And what do I want to take this back with? I'm going to take it back with the bishop. Okay, we're getting rolling around here. Queen g5 from GMGM. I'm going to go h4. Rook check from Dealmaker. I'm going to block with rook to g3. Knight d6 from Zebile. I'm going to retreat with bishop to d3. Bishop g5 from Trivial Pursuit. And I've got his queen boxed out a little bit, so I think I'm okay here. I don't know. I'm wondering where am I? I'm gonna try king to g2. Now, what's happening with dog meat? Okay, Zebile's going king. Now, I have to be careful against Zebile. I don't want to go king g2 and lose a piece. So let's see what to do here. My knight's getting into weird trouble here. I think I'm going to go bishop f4 and then just keep an eye on the situation here and see, because maybe at the right moment I want to bail out with a bishop opposite color type of position. Okay, now let's see what's going on here with Dealmaker. I guess I go rook to g2, protect my stuff. C6 from dog meat, and now what is this ending here after knight d4? It's some kind of king and pawn ending. I don't like to go into king and pawn endings without really knowing what I'm doing, and I'm not sure that I really know what I'm doing in this king and pawn ending. Okay, DVS has gone rook a8, and now I gotta see. I'm trying to make my king a little bit safe here. All right, I'm gonna try rook to f2. Bishop c6 from Raster. Blockading the pawn seems sensible. And now, how do I try to get in there? I don't know. Bishop takes knight, knight e4 doesn't. I don't know about that. Maybe I'm going to try bishop takes knight and then knight e4 and see what I could do here. Okay, now what's happening with Trivial Pursuit? Trivial Pursuit has gone f5. All right, I'll take that. G5 from Zebile. And now, I don't know. If I take on f5, am I unraveling myself? Okay, I take on d6 and see if I can unravel myself. C5 from Dealmaker. And now I'm going to go... I'm looking to see if I can go pawn to h5 and just slowly creep in there somehow. f5 deserves a look too. So if I go can I go f5? Okay, now I wanted to go knight e5 against Raster. Trying to get tricky there, and I'm going to go bishop f5 against Zebile. Think I'm doing a decent job of holding a draw there. h6 against DVS. And now, can I get my king up? Been trying to get my king to someplace safe for a long time in this game. Wasn't able to do it. Okay, knight g3 is. I'm going to try against Trivial Pursuit. I have to be a little careful here, my king. I seem to have dropped my pawn in the game with Raster. And that was an important d6 pawn. Probably should not have dropped that pawn. All right, I'm going to try something like queen to a3 and see what other... Do I have any other moves to try and defend here? So this time it was not the best job that I've ever done, to tell you the truth. Okay, let's see what Zebile is doing. Zebile is going A5. I'm going to go bishop to D7. Rook C2 from DVS. And I'm going to just go rook to D2 and try and defend myself. And let's see, Zebile has gone, all right, at least I've stymied his pawns. And now I'm going to see about bishop to B5. King takes F5 from Dealmaker. And now the pawn ending against Dogmeat, I don't know what it is. Okay, Queen F6 bothering my bishop in GM. I will retreat. And now let's see what to do here against Dealmaker. Should I just go back with my king to G4? It looks okay. With rooks on the board, I'm always looking for someplace safe. Okay, now what's going on DVS? I'm going to try Queen to G4 and just keep an eye on the situations. Bishop B2 from Zebile. And what's going on here? What's he trying to do? King G2 maybe could be a way of offering a draw. I don't know. I'll try that. Now, the pawn ending against Dogmeat is getting interesting. So he went D5, and I got to see, can I get my king in? I'm going to try to get my king in there and see if I could bother him. So I went king G5. I'm trying to be active about this. He's got dangerous passed pawn, though. And I'm not happy if it's protected. So I don't know. It may be a win for him because I think he's got the outside passed pawn. Okay, bishop C7 from DVS. And now what's happening here? I'm going to try to get my king up to safety. King to H3, I'll try. G5 from GM. GM is trying to open me up over there. Let's see. Can he do it? All right, I'm going to take him and then try some move. All right, now what's going on here with the Raster? I have to figure out a way to bother Raster's pawns. And I don't think that's going to be easy. All right, I'm going to try knight to C4. And offering a trade of queens on GM. C5 from Dogmeat looks like the right move to do. And now we're in an incredibly messy situation here. I don't know if I go king back, can he just block? So let's see. F4 doesn't make any sense. Can I take? Looks like Dogmeat is doing a good job here. Let's see. So how can I do this? King F5. No, he goes pawn takes pawn, and I can't catch the pawn. If I take it, he's got a protected passed pawn, and I don't think I could do anything about that. So what are my choices here? I don't like it. Probably might just be lost here. I'm going to go pawn takes pawn. I think I must resign there. Zebile has gone knight e5, and now I'm thinking of just going f4. Let's see. DVS is tying me down a little bit. I was wondering. I'm trying to go d5 in this game, so I'm going to try it. I don't have a lot of time. I'm going to see if I can go d5 and if that does anything. Okay, Zebile has gone knight g6. I guess I should just go king up. I think I'm making a draw there, and I think I'm going to resign against Dogmeat. Give it one more look. Now he's got a protected passed pawn, and he'll always have a protected passed pawn. So good game from Dogmeat. And let's see what Trivial Pursuit did. Trivial Pursuit locked it, and I'm going to play knight to h1, so I improve the position of my knight a little bit. Zebile is coming up with his king. I'm going to come up with my king, and I think if he wants a draw, I mean, obviously I will take it. Knight e3 from Raster. Got to defend against the mate. Traded queens against GM. Okay, now what's happening here with Plato leg? Can I just go queen to g4 and offer him a queen trade? Zeboil has gone knight e7. Now, against Zeboil, do I want to go? Yeah, I think I want to stop f5 check, so I want to go. I think I can go g4. Okay, here comes knight is coming in against Trivial Pursuit, and I'm going to trade queens before something bad happens. And okay, so now I'm taking on now I'm looking at taking on d5 against dvs, but the thing with is I overlooked something here is that am I getting mated on h2? So I don't know against dvs that I did the right thing here. All right, I'm going to try rook takes. It's getting interesting all over the place here. Okay, now what's happening with GM? GM is he going to pry me open at some point? I'm going to go bishop to h3 and see if I could guard my king. Raster is going queen e6. I'm wondering. I'm looking about bishop to b7, but bishop c7. I'm not sure what it does. Rook takes e3 from Plato lag, and I'm thinking of just going. Now I could take his queen. What's going on with that? But then knight f4. Okay, so I think I just want to go pawn takes and take it easy there. Okay, DVS, I'm trying to trick him here. I don't know what's going on. Bishop takes d5. Let's see what's happening here. I'm going to trade queens against Trivial Pursuit, and I think I'm okay there. Knight g4 from GM. Okay. Now I was thinking about going f3 here. Knight c4 to guard that square looks sensible. All right, I'm going to try knight to c4 so that the knights don't go into e3. Let's see what to do here. Is there any danger of Zeboil's king coming up and bothering me? I think I'm going to go pawn to f5 and see if I could just keep his pieces off of the face. Okay, now we got very interesting move here in the DVS game. He's threatening mate. And I'm going to, let's see. Now, I could take his rook on a2 and discover on his queen. I also have e7 check, but then he goes queen takes d5. Okay, I'm going to take his rook. And what the heck's going on here? Okay, bishop takes e1 against Plato lag, and I think I just want to take back and leave his knight on the board because his knight's not so good. Okay, king g7 from Dealmaker. I think I'm gonna tuck my king into h5 and see if that bothers him. Gonna drive Plato lag back. I think I'm gonna come up with my king against Trivial Pursuit and see if my king can patch things up and make them at least a little safe. And now let's see what's going on against GM. Is he going to try to go h4 at the right moment? I'm going to go rook g3 and try and defend on the side. Difficult has gone knight c6. Can I go rook to b1? Zeboil is trying to get some knight f6 thing in. Really, this game maybe should have been a draw a long time ago. I'm going to go knight g3 and try and box his knight out. Let's see. Plato lag. I'm going to go. I just want to make sure. I think I'm going to try to keep. I'm going to go rook to d1 against Plato lag and keep him tied up. Queen c6 from DVS threatening mate. Okay, now I get my e7 discovered check. And he takes on a2, and what the heck? I have to do everything with check here. So this is a question, but can I go bishop to d5 first and stop the mate? I'm going to go bishop to d5 first and stop the mate, and then I have that pawn is alive, and we'll see if we could do something with it. Okay, Plato lag. I think I'm happy to go b4. Zebulon is boxing my knight out. I'm going to go knight h5. I think I'm making a draw against Zebulon. Okay, bishop to b7 from Raster, protecting his pawn. I'm going to go queen d4. I mean, this game, I feel like I'm just lost. I'm kind of thrashing around. And now, let me see, Trivial Pursuit. I'm going to get my knight back into the game. Zebulon. What's a good move here for me? Just move my bishop somewhere. Bishop c6 looks okay. Rook f5 from Dealmaker, and I'm gonna double rooks and try to see if I could trade rooks on e7. A5 from Plato lag, and I'm gonna go rook b1 and see if I could make a pass pawn there. Yep, Raster played solidly, just like expected. I'm just going to go back with my bishop. I'm just hanging on here for dear life. Trade off all the rooks against difficult. Maybe I'm slightly better there. I don't know. Queen b6 from DVS. I think I might have made a queen there. Maybe I'm happy about that. Knight gf6, and GM is trying to pry me open here. I'm looking to see about. Let's see. I'm thinking I'm going to go bishop takes d7. Maybe removing that will help me a little bit. Okay, now Trivial Pursuit is bopping his knight around, and let's see, is he annoying my other side there? He's got. Will knight e3 check bother me? I'm wondering. I think I'm just going to go knight to d3 and protect all my stuff, and then I think I'm okay with a draw there. Rook to c. Rook to c8 from Plato log, and let me see. Now, I was thinking I can go pawn takes a5 there. Trade off all the rooks against difficult. And now let's see what's going on here against GM. Now, I was trying to see, can I bother him here with, let's say, rook to b3. Okay, Zebul, I'm going to go bishop to e8 and see if this game can finally become a draw. Okay, now I'm coming up here. I'm going to go ace. I think I can go a6 against Plato log. Now, how do I now Dealmaker? I got him tied up a little bit here. So, is there some sort of nice zugzwang move I could do? Let me try rook to e5 and see if I could just harass him a little bit. Any chances of blockading against Raster? I kind of doubt it, but I'm still going, so I'll try. Okay, now Plato log has gone pushed, and I think I push up, and I think I'm winning this game. Okay, difficult. What about bishop to f3? I've distracted GM. And gotten him to go rook to b8, so that's got to help me. And I'm going to go king. Now, I think I'm going to try then knight to e3 and get him from the other side. Okay, now, what's going on here with Zebul's knight? I think I'm happy to put my knight into g7, and that could box his king out. Raster's playing very safely, very good. That's the way to play in this kind of position, and I'm just kind of I not much I could do here, hoping for some miracle blockade thing, and I don't think I'm going to get it. So, all right, photo lag. I think I'm up the exchange position. Knight e6 check from Zebul, and let's see what's going on. All right, make a queen against Plato log, up the exchange. That should do it for that one. He takes g4. It's going to be 3 pawns I have. I think that should be a pretty easy win. Okay, now I'm going to come up with my king and try and box his king out. Okay, now Zebul, I'm thinking of just moving my bishop back and forth, and I boxed his king out. And I don't know if his knight can go anywhere. I don't know if I have any winning chances in that game. All right. I'm trying, like against Raster, to really block those pawns. Okay, now what's happening here? Knight h4 against Trivial Pursuit. Let me go bishop to f2 and get him to go somewhere. All right, now GM has gone knight to f6. I'm going to go f3. Okay, what's happening with Dealmaker now? He went rook there. Do I want to get him? Can I go rook? I'm going to try to go rook c2, get him to push those pawns up. All right, let's see. Looks like we're just going to repeat moves. I'm going to just box out. I don't know if I want to let. Is it some kind of big deal? Well, if Zebal's knight gets in, can I do anything? I'm wondering if I can try to get my knight to f7 now and try to win. I mean, it's a little weird. Okay, now let's see what happens here against Difficult. The Difficult's king is coming up. If I snatch d5, he'll get knight c6. I'm going to see if I can bring my king up too and defend the pawn. Okay, now let's see what to do here against. Let's see what to do here against Trivial Pursuit. I better start moving a little faster than what I'm doing. Can I go up with his? I'm going to try to go up with my king and see if I can maybe get into some position. All right, let's see. Now, where is Zebal bothering me with his knight if I try this knight f7 thing? Where will he bother me? Okay, we're both coming up with our king in the Difficult game. We're both coming up with our king in the Plato lag game. I've really done some job here boxing out Trivial Pursuit's knight. I don't know. Where is he headed to now? Is he headed to g5 maybe? Let's see. And I'm going to bring my knight back. Okay, now let's see what happens against Dealmaker here. I'm going to see if I could just creep in there. I'm going to go rook to e6 and just do some creeping moves. Okay, now Zebal. Now, did I let Zebal's king in? No, I don't think so. So how's he going to bother me here? Should I go bishop to a4? Okay, now let's see what is Trivial Pursuit doing. I'm going to go knight c4, g6 from Plato log. I'm going to go check. Okay, now I'm starting to tie GM up a little bit. I'm going to go rook to b6, and that would keep his knight from moving. Okay, Zebal is trying. Let's see, is he trying to get knight to b6? Does that do something? All of a sudden, I don't know. This is greedy trying to win this game at this point. But I'm gonna go knight f7 and try to take his h pawn for what that's worth. Okay, now what do I do here against Plato log? Is it good for me to get a past h pawn? So I'm going to take on g6. He's trading down a lot of stuff, that's for sure. So that I have to be a little careful about how I do this. Okay, Dealmaker, do I have him tied up a little bit? So now I'm going to double rooks back on the e file. Zebal has attacked. Well, he's taken my pawn on. I did not do this well. I mean, I just gave him king c5 for nothing. And now I'm looking to see, do I have to go bishop to c6? Well, that was not good. All right, now what's going on here against Plato lag? I'm going to just try to take his d pawn with king d5. Okay, now Difficult. Can I snatch this pawn on d5? All right, let's see what's going on here. All right, so now Dealmaker, I'm getting him to push his pawns up. I'm going to go rook on e5 rook on e to e5 and see what's going on. All right, now have I boxed Zebal's king out? That's the only thing that worries me at this point. So knight takes h6. GM is tied up. I'll go king f2. Salmo's been going for about 2 hours, 10 minutes. Zeblow's king's coming up now. Do I want to go? I have to go king to d3. What's the pawn ending against difficult? That's the question. Okay, I'm going to go knight to d2 against Trivial Pursuit, protect my stuff, keep my king in there. I don't know. I think this is a draw, but now Dealmaker has gone. Now against Dealmaker, I'm wondering at what moment do I go g6 and start bothering his king? All right, I'm gonna pick now to go g6, see if I can bother his king. Okay, now I'm gonna go e4 against Plato Log, still trying to take this d pawn for nothing. Rook g6 from GM, and I'm gonna go rook to h1. I'm really got him tied up here. Looks like Trivial Pursuit has gone knight back to f7. I don't know. Is there any point? Let me see if I go. I'm gonna try just king to g6, see if I can bug his knight a little bit. All right, now, is Zeblow's king ever coming up to bother me is what I'm wondering about here. I'm going to go knight. I'm going to try and get my knight someplace useful here. I'm going to try knight to g8. It's a good knight versus a bad bishop possibility. Okay, now, did Plato lag blunder? I'm going to go pawn takes pawn, and then I'm going to go for the simplest possible win here. And I'm going to go rook check, take his knight, and try for a winning king and pawn ending. Okay, now, what's going on with difficult? Can I come up with my king? I'm boxing his king out. And let me see what I could do here with Trivial Pursuit. Should I? He goes knight g5 at some moment and then bothers my f-pawn, so I don't know if I'm ever free to go on some mission here. All right, I'm going to try bishop to b6, and this is really some die-hard situation here for me. Okay, now, Zeblow, did I get my knight trapped against Zeblow like an idiot? I might have. So is he just coming over here to take my knight? So this game, I really messed this up. Probably should have been an easy draw, and it's not. And I can sacrifice all my pawns to get my knight out. Probably on the last move, I could have put my knight into g6, and it would still be okay. But this was a real not my best play here. So, all right, king to e3, rook takes knight against Dealmaker, rook takes pawn. All right, now we have now GM is I'm taking a pawn here, so knight takes g7 and rook takes h5. I feel like I'm just winning there. King d7, Zeblon is coming over for the knight, and I think that unless I overlook something, I gotta resign. Okay, so that was terrible, and probably should just be a draw, but that's what happens when you get greedy. Okay, Dealmaker's going king h7, and I'm going to threaten mate in one with rook on g5 and then he's got to get out of there. Maybe I trade off all the rooks and win with the h pawn. Okay, took a pawn against GM. Still have him tied to b7. And now let's see, Trivial Pursuit. I don't know why I'm trying to win this, but apparently I am. I'm going to try. Let me try bishop to a7. Okay, king c4 against difficult. We're boxing each other out. I'm up a pawn. Plato lag. I think he should resign. Let me see what to do here against GM. Is rook f5 a sensible looking move? Keep him tied up. And now, okay, so Dealmaker, I got to be careful here. I would like to trade. Yeah, I think this is an easy win now. Rook check. I trade a pair of rooks, and I can take on c5. Okay, now, let's see. Trivial Pursuit, I'm going to try bishop to b8. Trade takes on c5 against Dealmaker, keeping an eye out for, I don't see any cheapos for him. GM, I still got him all tied up here. His B pawn is nice. Now, I think I'm just going to go rook to h5. Why give him an open file? I didn't like rook f5, so I'm changing my mind, and then I'm going to make myself solid and then try and crack him on the other side. It's nice that rook on b6 is doing a great job there. So Simul was a little bit shaky today. I do not make any excuses. And sometimes we just don't play well. What can you do, right? Okay, now let's see. It gets difficult. A Russian guy once told me night game like king game, kingo bingo. And I think I took that to mean that that he what happens is that it's however you're playing a pawn. And okay, now I have to see here against Trivial Pursuit. This is if let's see what is he boxing my bishop out? So I think I should probably just go bishop back and take it easy there. Okay, rook f6 from GM, and I don't know. Does he have any threats? I'm going to go pawn to c4. I don't see any threats for him. His rook is tied up. And if his king comes over, maybe I have some other way to do something to him. Okay, king e8 from Trivial Pursuit. And when should I end the misery here and make a draw? All right, I'm going to try bishop to f2. And now king d7 from GM. Now, if I go g4, all right, so his king's going to have to come over. So I don't know if I want to go g4. Do I want to go b4? I'm going to go b4 and try and open up that b file. Trivial Pursuit's coming in with his king. Now, is there any? Do I tie him down here? I don't know. All right, I'm going to try knight to c4. I don't believe any of this. f5 check from difficult. And I'm just going to go f3, trying to box his knight out. Trying to keep the pawn structure on that side the same. Rook to g6 for GM. And now, hold on, I'm going to go pawn takes pawn. And I think I'm very happy here. His pawn structure's bad. I think I'm going to go rook takes g6. And then I think I'm going to bother his pawns. Rook g7 check. Maybe I can win that g6 pawn and get a lot of connected pass pawns. I'd have potential for 3 connected pass pawns there. That should be nice. Okay. Rook h7 check. King where? King has to come up. Otherwise, trade rooks. Okay, now, all right. Now, what's this move here from difficult? Difficult has just gone f4, and now I want to try to tempo him somehow. So, do I want to go a3? Okay, Trivial Pursuit's gone bishop to e7, and now. So if I was going to try to win here, I would probably try to take his b pawn. All right, I'm going to try b5 and see. It's I don't know. Just playing this game, I don't know. I don't know what the word inertia. I don't know, something kind of nice word. Okay, pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes pawn. Knight g5. Now, this is where we get into the situation. Knight takes d6. What is it? Okay, knight b8 from difficult. And now, how do I want to do this? Knight to b4 boxes knight out. It's always good to have pawn moves left over for the pawn ending later. I mean, it's nice to have that H pawn. Okay, looks like Trivial Pursuit went king to d7, and now I got to see. I could snatch b7, and then he takes. This is still far from over. Now, if I go knight, oh no, knight to b4. Let's try knight to c4. Okay, now against difficult, I'm looking to see here if the king and pawn ending is a win. After d5, a5, knight to. I'm going to try it. I'm going to go d5 to see if that's some kind of win. All right, now what's happening here with this Trivial Pursuit thing? If I bring my king back, and then what does he do here? All right, I don't know what this king back. The game got very exciting all of a sudden. Trying to keep him tied to his e pawn. I don't know what's he's got a pass. Now he's got a pass pawn to bother me with. Knight to c4 looks interesting. Getting knight takes e3. If he goes knight check, I could take. Well, I don't know. If he goes knight check, all my stuff's protected, and I think I'm going to win his g2 pawn. No, I don't know. I don't know. A knight check if I should take that. Probably king e6. King e6 and d6 might win a piece. Yep, so that's right. I made his king go back. $62 moves, long games today. And I was in time pressure right away. I think it's winning for me now, Trivial Pursuit. I'm sorry you have to leave. It'd be interesting to play it out. I'm not sure what the best move is here for Trivial Pursuit. I feel like if he trades knights, I feel like I just push my pawns and I'm going to win a piece. Put my king on e6 and push the d pawn in. So good games. Let's see. Anything? I don't believe this. Yeah, Difficult says apologies for late silly draw for no big deal. Let's see. GM. Got a little tied up in that game. Dealmaker, I found, some interesting things in the rook ending, but I think his position was pretty solid there. Plato Lag was another very tough game. Managed to get a winning position near the end. Zebile completely screwed that one up. Got my knight trapped. Probably goes to show you do not get greedy. Looks like against what happened against, I don't know what happened against Raster. The game just ended and he's up 2 connected past pawns, so I don't know what happened there. DVS had some nice tricks, but didn't do it the right way. And in the final position, I've managed to defend myself, and I'm making some queens. Dogmeat, I think I was better in that game and just went wrong, but he defended well. Heian was a draw. We play Heian a lot. Let's see. Jay Russell, got to stop stacking stuff. Sacked his queen. Moving Dutchman, very tricky game, not bad. Kronos, weird game, lots of stuff going on there. That was at Dutch. Mouse slip against Creative Rook. I liked my position at the time. And in Cap Red, I just didn't think he got into some sort of unsound situation, and I finished that one off nicely. Funky Chess, he resigned. In the final position, I don't know about resigns, but I'm definitely bothering backward pawns. Creative Rook, we saw that one. And Little Fish, another bad opening. And Difficult, we saw that. So, and Ears, I don't know what happened to Ears. I was down to 7 seconds. And sometimes the boards don't go. So thank you, everybody. So it was 14 wins, 2 draws, and 4 losses. Not so good. One of the losses was a mouse slip, but still, 4 losses, not so good. So anyway, thank you, everybody, for attending ICC. This is John Fedorowicz for ICC's February of 2017 SimulMaster Simul. I hope everybody enjoys the coverage of the Grand Prix and the Women's World Championship. And I'll see everybody next month. I don't know what kind of tournaments we're covering, so... back to Tartakova's studies for Difficult. Tartakova is a good opening. And take care. Thanks to Sandro for doing the usual good job taking care of us. And take care, everybody. Have a good day. Have a good night, whatever it is. Bye.